and welcome to tonight's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel, and as always, I have a very special guest for you, Laurel Djoukeng of the Catalyst Network Foundation. He'll be with us for the next 30 minutes, so stay with us. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. I'm Lydia Patel. And like I said, I have a very special guest for you, Mr. Laurel Djoukeng. Welcome to the program.
I appreciate you guys for having me.
Well, it's great to have you. We love people who are doing things in the community, movers and shakers.
Thank you.
And that's why you're here with us tonight. You're going to tell us a little bit about what you're doing in the Catalyst Network. But before we get into all that, who is Laurel Djoukeng? I want the story. Let's talk about you and who you are.
Definitely. So, born and raised in Washington, D.C. So, my heritage is Cameroonian. So, both my parents from Cameroon. They moved here late 70s, early 80s. So, both came for college, for undergrad. So, funny enough, they went to the same high school, and they didn't know one another in high school. But then they both ended up moving to D.C. My aunt ended up paying for my mom she got accepted Georgetown, got to Georgetown, but couldn't afford it. Then was in George Washington, couldn't afford it. And then ended up in Howard University. And my pops, he was in like a community college, but then tested to get in Howard, so they met at Howard University. So they met, so that's how I ended up being born and raised in D.C. And pretty much, I like playing sports, and I've always been kind of like, so I played basketball and soccer in high school, and then, just other sports, but not for like high school teens. But while I was in middle school and high school, I was always trying to find ways to like be enterprising, because I like autonomy and controlling my own destiny. So I would, shovel snow, mow lawn, do things of that nature. Funny enough, I've been paying taxes. I'm 32 now. I started working at 12, and you needed a worker's permit at 13. Yeah. But I was working at Domino's. The guy didn't see how old I was. He quickly signed off. So I was actually 12 when I started paying taxes to date. So I've always kind of been working. That Social Security, just keep banking it. Yeah, no, you're right. So always was like looking at ways to try to be self-sufficient, but then always kind of like business in general. So, but never was really that studious. So when in high school, I started taking an affinity towards psychology, because I said, okay, this is like the only AP class that I'm taking in high school. I went to Montgomery Blair High School, and I said, man, I actually like understanding the mind, because I like understanding people, and I always knew that, like, when I did the lawn mowing business, I would negotiate with people or shovel their snow in regards to, like, okay, $30 for this or $60, and then I would take my parents, my mom's friend, and see who owned the lawn mowing machine, and then like lease it, quote unquote, be like, oh, can I use it for this weekend, or can I buy it used? And then I would actually purchase a couple more, and then get some of my friends from the neighborhood to be like, look, come with me, we can do these jobs quicker. So I was always realizing, like, wow, I have to understand how people think in order to motivate them. And even when I was working at Domino's, because I worked at Domino's all 4 years in high school, so everything from passing out flyers to then being an assistant preparation manager, taking on the phone, hearing crazy customers, having people older than me that I'm, directing to go to these different locations, I realized, like, wow, you always have to understand people and influence them. So psychology, I took an affinity towards that. So then when I was looking, funny enough, to apply to school, I knew I was going to, go to college, but I didn't have, any perspective in regards to, applying to school. But at that time, my assistant basketball coach, Wendell Hall, he said, what are you going to do after high school? I was like, I'm going to go to college. But I didn't apply to anywhere, anything of that nature. So then he got behind me. He went to Hampton University, ended up applying to Hampton and Howard. He was behind me the entire time, and then he made me go to, this on-site admissions thing in Columbia, Maryland, where you present all your information, and then they accept you on the spot. So Hampton accepted me on the spot. Howard did as well, but I didn't want to stay home. So ended up going to going to Hampton University, and funny enough, my first week, the counselor my major was psychology.
Right.
But then when I spoke to the counselor, they're like, what do you like doing? Well, I said, I like business, and I think I'm good with numbers. And then they said, you should be an accountant. So then literally from there, I was an accounting major.
Okay.
And then, so then when I... and
kind of dry.
Yeah, kind of dry. So the funny thing, the way my assistant basketball coach, Dr. Wendell Hall, got me into Hampton, and this is what I thought about with my nonprofit, understanding people and how to motivate them. He kept on saying, Hampton has the most beautiful woman in the whole world. So he knew, so I was like, okay, Hampton University, okay, beautiful woman. I'm definitely going to apply to this school.
Checks that box.
Checks
that two boxes.
Right? So, but when I got there, he didn't lie. I was like, wow, like Hampton University, the name precedes it, like the reputation. But when I got there, so our first year I'm staying at Harkness Hall, like 3 months in, we have this alum come. And at that time, he worked at Goldman Sachs. I didn't know anything about Wall Street. I probably never uttered the word stock market in my life. So he's like, Goldman Sachs. We're like, all right, so what do you do? And he's like, I talk to wealthy people. I do deals for a living. And I was like, you get paid to do deals? I'm like, huh? Like deals? And then he was like, I deal with numbers. And I'm like, deals and numbers? I'm like, I do that, but on a much smaller level. So I was like, and then he was like, I was like, oh, so you get paid that much to do deals and, do math? I was like, oh, no, I need to learn more about that sector. So then that's when my eyes started opening up about Wall Street. So then I kind of knew, okay, I'm going to try to get into Wall Street. So then, did internships at Enterprise Rent-A-Car and a couple other places. But my senior year, had a full-time offer with Con Edison in the Gold program. It's like this leadership rotational program. And I said, okay, great. I can be in New York, and then I can be in New York and get paid, but network, to get into Wall Street. And literally in 2008, when I moved here in July in Crown Heights. So I graduated in May. I actually moved here in June because we had to start working like 3 weeks out of school. I believe that's when the Gold program started. So then once I came here, I literally, was networking, dealing with people that worked on Wall Street. I would go to like all these different events, private equity events, hedge fund events. Senior executives didn't know anything about it, just to soak in the information. I'll be walking in, but I'll be learning at that time. Had a lot of mentors that worked on Wall Street. So then a year and a half into Con Edison, I had found this opportunity at Prudential Real Estate Investors. So it's like a $70 billion private equity fund. It's the real estate private equity arm of Prudential. And supposed to work, I got an opportunity to work at their, supposed to be initially the high yield debt group, which like focused on like debt investments. But anyway, they needed me to hire in Parsippany, New Jersey. And I was living in Crown Heights. So as an investment analyst, and this kind of ties into my nonprofit. So it was a 2.5 hour commute door to door from Crown Heights. I would take the 3 train to Penn Station. From Penn Station, I'd take the New Jersey Transit to either Morristown or Morris Plains, and then I'd take a bus to Parsippany. It was called, I forget exactly the street address. So it'll be 2.5 hours door to door, right?
So for 9 a.m., you're leaving home by 6:30.
Yeah, I'm leaving actually Brooklyn. I'm leaving my place at like 6 a.m. every day, sometimes 5:30. Because if you miss, then the lag can be an hour where you wait for the next bus. So funny enough, every time I'm coming home, this one gentleman, I call him Q Dog. He lived on Prospect Place between Rochester and Buffalo. He owned the building right next to the bodega, and he said I would see him every day.
You know what? Hold that thought.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. So, Laurel, you said Q Dog.
Yeah,
Crown Heights.
Crown Heights. So I would call him Q Dog because he was a Q.
Mm-hmm.
And he was probably in somewhere between his mid 60s, maybe early 70s, right? So every time I'd see him, he would say, what are you doing for this community? And I would say, at that time, I was part of iMentor. So I was a mentor and iMentor. I was mentoring the Harlem Dowling Association, and I was always like helping with the youth in some other capacity. But every day he was like, "No, what are you doing for this community?" He kept on saying Crown Heights. So one day I said, "Q Dog," I said, "What do you want me to do?" He said, "Go to Community Board 8 and tell him I sent you." So Community Board 8 was right around the corner. So I lived between Rochester and Buffalo, in front of what used to be St. Mary's Hospital, I believe. I think that's where Biggie was born as well. That's what people told me. So I walked to Community Board 8, and then I said, this gentleman around the corner told me to come here, and I want to help out in the community. And they say, go to the Community Board 8 meeting will be like 2 Tuesdays from now. Will be at the Brooklyn Children's Museum. So then I go to the museum, and then I'm hearing like all these different committees being called. Education committee, like health committee, real estate or housing committee. So all these different committees. Then I hear economic development committee. So I was like, okay, I can help with that. So I was like, who heads that? And then they said, lady right there. So it was Miss Priscilla Maddox. So then she said, I walked up to her and said, my name is Laurel Djoukeng. I went to Hampton University. I'm here to help. And then she said, come to our meeting, child, a week late. Like, it was like 10 days later or something like that, like a following Thursday. So then I go to the meeting. All I'm hearing the entire time is liquor license. It's like liquor license, liquor license. I'm like, wow, that's what the Economic Development Committee does. It's pretty much what I mean by liquor license. It's like it'll be a small business maybe on Nostrand Avenue or Kingston, and they're new, and then they're trying to like get their liquor license. Now, community boards don't have like sanction among that, but you kind of want their approval. So literally the whole like 90 minutes, it was about different liquor license. And I'm like, man, there's nothing else going on here. So then anyway, it's time to leave. And Miss Priscilla Maddox, she talks to me. She says, what do you do? Where you go to school? And I'm like, I work for Prudential Real Estate Investors, and I went to school at Hampton. She's like, Hampton? She's like, my little cousin Ernie went to Hampton. And I knew Ernie. We both went there in 2004, from 2000 to 2008. And I said, wow, it's a small world. So then I said, okay, we started talking a little bit. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to head back to my place. She says, no, I'll give you a ride. So, the Brooklyn Children's, it wasn't held at the Brooklyn Children's Museum, but somewhere in Crown Heights. She gives me a ride. We get in front of my place. We start talking for like 2 hours. Literally in front of my place. It's like from 8 to 10 p.m. And then, at that time, I think 50 Cent had did like a vitamin water deal, and that's when he sold his stake and reportedly made like $400 million. And then I was just talking about like just business and different investments, and people from New York City that are transitioning into like venture capital, private equity, things of that nature. And then she said, how do we get more people to be like Jay-Z and 50 Cent? I said, I don't know. I was like, I'm nowhere near that level first. I can't tell you how to be them, but I said, it takes, providing guidance to the youth and, inroads and mentorship and access. And then she said, okay, why don't you fix that? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about, right? So then I get out the car, I walk in. Now, mind you, Miss Priscilla, when I met her, she probably was 88 or 87. But her mind was sharp. Like, she was 60 years old. Her mind was so sharp, And so literally it'd be the next month. She's like, have you thought about what I told you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm, got up with a group of friends, and we're down to just talk to you. She's like, no, starting a company that focuses on that. So I was like, what is she talking about, right? And then she's like, no, start a nonprofit, so it'll be another month, then another month. And then Ernie at that time was staying at her place, and Ernie said, this was 6 months later, Ernie said, man, Miss Priscilla really wants to talk to you about starting this organization. I'm like, I don't know what she wants me to start. He's like, probably like a nonprofit, some deals with youth. I'm like, I have no intentions of starting a nonprofit. Like, I love helping youth, but I don't care for starting or launching a nonprofit, and I don't even know where to start. So he was like, man, meet her at the, she wants to meet. So I called Miss Priscilla. She's like, child, meet me at the Applebee's. Is the Applebee's on in Bed-Stuy on Fulton Avenue?
On Fulton, New York and Fulton.
New York on Fulton.
Right by Restoration.
Yes, right by Restoration. So we meet there, and, she knows I like eating. So she She's like, child, get whatever you want. That's what she used to call me at that time. And she said, now are you going to do something to fix this? I'm like, Miss Priscilla, you know everybody in Brooklyn. You can get somebody else. She's like, no, but you can do it, and I want you to do it. She's like, I've seen a lot of people, but I want you to do it. And I'm like, you don't even know me like that, you know? And then, but I realized how much a power broker she was. So she made me, I shook her hand and said, all right, whatever we're going to do, I'm going to do it. I'm going to commit to it. So literally, I shook her hand, and I was like, I don't even know what I'm getting into. So then, funny enough, you know, I start trying to frame things in my head. I was like, okay, it'll just be like an organization that helps the youth. So I like called like two of my friends that were part of different nonprofits. So one was like Monica Myers, another lady named Ashley Coxman, and then Miss Priscilla introduced me to a lady at the time named Laurel Brown. She actually does a lot of stuff still in like Brooklyn. She went to Harvard Law School. So I created like one meeting with those three. And I was like, you know, this is the idea. We would kind of deal with youth, and it'll be us, but we wouldn't want to tell them what to do. We would want to identify what their passions or strong skill sets are, and then we would try to like create a roadmap. And they're like, cool, like, all right, I'm down to help. I'm like, all right, cool. I don't know what direction we're going.
And that's the birth of the Catalyst.
And that's the birth of the Catalyst. So then, literally at that time, Youth Community Board 8, I said, man, we need to get in touch with some high school. And then went to the education committee, and they said, I know this lady, Miss Chantel Des Dooms, who is a parent-teacher coordinator at Erasmus Hall Campus, YCD, Youth Community Development. So I spoke to her. I was like, this is what we're thinking about doing. You know, she's like, I love the idea. You know, our students need guidance, things of that nature. I was like, great. But at that time, I still didn't know, like, what we were going to do.
How you're going to do it.
Yes. So then I just kept on telling other people. I told a lot of my friends. Told one of my team members now, Rashad West, I said, man, you know, he's like, I know this lady named Emily Christopher, like, she's, you know, she just got a master's in education at Harvard, like, she knows how to create programming. And I was like, all right, cool. Spoke to her, told her the idea, like, what I was thinking in my head, she was able to, like, flush it out. And she was like, this is how it should look like. And I was like, man, oh, you're amazing. Like, whatever you need, I'll get the resources. Because literally what I was thinking about articulating, she put it down on paper. She had structure behind it. I was like, wow, okay, now we have something, and something I can go talk to other people about. So I just kept on trying to get more and more resources. And then met a gentleman by the name of Rodney Hunt. And at the time, Rodney Hunt, he sold a business for like $380 million. And when I met him, I told him the idea of Catalyst, and Miss Priscilla was with me. And we met in New York, and or might have met in D.C. first.
Hold that thought.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. So yes, you met some great people.
Yes. So this gentleman Rodney Hunt that we met, we went to his mansion at the time in McLean, Virginia, and he loved Miss Priscilla. And I told him the idea of Catalyst. He literally gave us a $10,000 check and gave Miss Priscilla $8,000 cash, right? Just because it was birthday, just because he wanted to. Literally, we're going back up the bus, mega bus. She had $8,000 cash in her pocket. I had $10,000 for the nonprofit. Mind you, we weren't even a 501c3. Yes. So then literally, he was like, okay, we got to do a big welcoming event. So it was like Kai Studios. She paid them during Crown Heights to host the studio. She had all black sister vendors, all black ladies that were vendors, and we had like a launch event. And then literally, make a long story short, we had people from the Community Board 8. Ethel Tyus, she prepared our 501c3, came in 2 years later. And then since we have 200 fellows in our fellowship program. Our first fellowship cohort was in 2012. They go through our 3-week summer intensive program. I hire an educator that is our education programs manager for the summer at St. Francis College in downtown Brooklyn from June to July, and then at Howard University from July to August. And we select about 20 to 25 fellows. And pretty much our 3-week summer intensive program from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., we take them to corporate tours. So they've been everywhere from Morgan Stanley to Goldman Sachs to Microsoft, LinkedIn, Google, Essence, BT, NPR, Fox News, you name it. We have them work on a community-based project. We have professional development sessions. We have panels Tuesday, Wednesday,
That's
Thursday.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so everything from entrepreneurship panel, business and finance panel, medical, healthcare, and nursing panel. We secure them with internships. We have events like SAT prep workshop and things of that nature where we instruct about 1,000 to 2,000 students annually in New York City and Washington, D.C. And then we just had our 4th annual Youth STEM event at Google, where Google was a sponsor, Microsoft was a sponsor, where we had a coding workshop by Microsoft. We had about 250 students or more than 250 students show up from Brooklyn, so high schools that we partner with: Bedford, Medgar Evers, Brooklyn Tech, City Polytech, Erasmus Hall, YCD, Achievement First Brooklyn High School, Achievement First University Prep, Urban Assembly School for Law and Justice. In Washington, D.C., we partner with Montgomery Blair High School, Benjamin Banneker Academy, New York City and Washington, D.C., and several other schools. So we've kind of been rocking and rolling, been having our summer intensive program where we have over 200 fellows who have now graduated undergrad, matriculated, some into grad school, and then many in the professional workforce. And since 2018. So this would be 2019 coming up.
This is awesome. How do we get in contact with you if we have students at home
Definitely
who want to be a part of this, parents and the teens, if you want to get a part of this? I mean, this is a great opportunity.
So they can just literally Google Catalyst Network Foundation, or they can go to www.catalyst, CATALYST network.org or info@catalyst-network.org. So if you just Google us, we have like over 30 YouTube videos or 20. And then we have our, Instagram, our regular website, and things of that nature. So they can reach us there. And my contact information is on there as well if you go in the team section.
Absolutely. I mean, this is just a wealth of information, so that's great. And I know you've been working on some other things. Why don't you share that?
So I'm currently pursuing my MBA program at Duke University, the Fuqua School of Business, and I'm part of the entrepreneurship program. So just finished my first year. I'm graduating in 2020. And I started a startup called Spark. So Spark is a people-centric marketplace that helps professionals monetize in-person and digital engagements. So just to kind of say, for instance, I'll use you as an example, and I'll provide an analogy if I have time. So we live in like the gig economy, right? So 20 years ago, if I said, say you had a car and I said, can you drop me to JFK? I'd pay you $200. You would say, do I know you? Are you going to kill me? And I would say, is this your car, or do I know you, or are you going to kill me, right? But now with technology and everything of that nature, you're comfortable requesting a ride from a stranger, Uber or Lyft, and they're comfortable picking you up, right?
True.
And then if I said, say you were traveling to Toronto next week for the entire week, and I said, can I stay at your condo for a week? I'll pay you $1,000. You would say, and this was 20 years ago, you'd be like, I don't know you. You're going to trash my place. Are you even going to pay me? I would say, is this even your place? But now with Airbnb, comfortable staying at a stranger's house, and vice versa, stranger paying for you to stay at their place. The only thing about Uber and Airbnb is that for Uber, the car is the asset. For Airbnb, the condo, the flat, the house, the apartment is the asset. For Spark, we're the asset. So now, let me give you an example. So say we're in a Spark Utopia. We just launched the beta May 2018, but say 2019, so literally a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
But say, for instance, there's, 10 million people in the Spark Utopia. So say, for instance, you have a profile. You would take out your phone, and then you say you would make an engagement, and say you're staying in Toronto next week. So you put the W Hotel at downtown Toronto. I'm going to talk about how to get them, broadcast journalism or get in TV production. So you put that, and they see your profile, and they're like, wow, she's been in this business. She's seasoned for the past 10 years. So you put an engagement. You cap it at 5 people. And you put, I'm going to talk about how to get in TV production or broadcast journalism. And say, for instance, you cap it at 5 people and you charge $50 and you make the engagement an hour. So it'll be from 7 to 8 a.m. while you were doing morning routine. So then you would create this engagement. You decide, I don't want to make money off of these people, but for this $50, I'll make a 50% go to one charity that I care about in Crown Heights, 20% go to another charity in Trinidad, and then the other proceeds go to me. So people are typing around the world, I want to get in TV production. I want to get in broadcast journalism. They see you pop up, almost like a dating app like Tinder, Bumble, OkCupid. And then they're like, oh, wow, she's been doing this for the past 10 years. Wow, on her profile, I see her videos. She knows what she's doing. $50. Okay, they press spark. Now you look at her profile like a dating app, be like, no, this person's in high school. Swipe to left. Okay, this person is studying broadcast journalism at the University of Toronto. Oh, this person's been 2 years in the business. You accept 5. So then now it's $250. And now thus comes the engagement. When the engagement happens, you're fielding all their questions like, this is how I got in the field. This is what you need to work on. This is what you can study at school. This is who you should connect with.
I love it.
After that engagement, they can put 1 out of 5 stars for you like Yelp, and then write a comment. So they should be like, wow, she connected me with this production house. Wow, she told me I should study this or I should practice this. So now say they all put 5 out of 5 stars, and they put great comments about you. Your profile augments. 50% gets sent to the charity, so that's $125 to a Crown Heights charity. Other 20% at $250, so that's like $50 gets sent to a charity in Trinidad. And then the other 30% proceeds go directly to you, already automated. And that's kind of the idea of it, to show that there's pretty much in the gig economy, there's 1,000 things about you that are of value to somebody else, right?
Well, I love that. And we're going to have you come back to do a
back.
whole episode on this, because
Yes.
this is super cool, and I definitely want to have you back for that. But Laurel, thank you so much. It's been an amazing episode having you, and you're so informative, and we're looking forward to having you back.
Appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, you can send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. I'm your host, Lydia Patel. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back again next week. Same time, same place you're watching. Beyond Focus TV. Stay with us. Beyond Focus TV show wants and needs your feedback. Did we blunder? Please let us know so we can improve. Was the show helpful to you? Drop us a note so we can share the success with our staff members. Is there something you think we could do better? We welcome new ideas and new approaches to old ideas. Do you have a great suggestion? Let us know and we'll work on it. If you would like to share your comments anonymously, please send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. If you want to get in touch with the executive producer directly, send him an email at gene@beyondfocusmedia.com. We really look forward to hearing from you. We really look forward to hearing from you.